What an experience. Has any human being ever had an experience like that? No. And then that sea creature spits him out right there and right near shore, so that he can wade to shore. And what do you think Jonah did? Now we have to speculate, but we certainly can see this possibility, although it's not a requirement. But first of all, how far away was that ship from land when that great storm occurred? It was not 100 miles at sea. They were going to go to Tarshish, which was thousands, maybe sea journey of a year or so to get there. But they were so close to land when that storm began. Can I say they were close to land? Do I have any evidence from the Bible? Yes. Look at Jonah, chapter 13, chapter 1 rather, verse 13. Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to bring it to land. That ship is 100 miles at sea. Do you think they're going to be rowing to try to row 100 miles to land? Of course not. They may have only been 2 or 3 miles from the Joppa port that already began. At any rate, they were close to land. Now, once the sea calmed, what would we expect? They had a mission to go to to go to Tarshish and do trading, and they were in the business. You would think they would keep going. It's finally the seas are calm. They couldn't keep going. Why? Why couldn't they keep going? Because they had thrown out all their cargo. They had thrown everything out, everything that they were going to trade for gold and silver and so on. They had an empty ship. What would you do when you are close to land and your ship is empty and the sea is calm? Now, what's the only thing you can do? You hoist your sail or start rowing and get back to the seaport. And what seaport did they come from? Joppa. So that's probably where they were. And so they begin to refit their ship and get new cargo and so on, because that dreadful experience is over. But where do you think Jonah? Now, if you were Jonah, you just got spit out and on land, and you've been praying and you don't even know whether that storm immediately stopped or not, and you wonder what happened. And you do remember that these heathen seamen, they gave evidence of having become children of God. But just before they threw them in, they were praying to Jehovah God. They weren't praying. He remembered that. He remembered. I'm sure he did. I mean, when he was in that belly of that sea creature, he was remembering everything in great detail, and it was going through his mind 1,000 times. Then what happened? And it's very easy to walk in his shoes about this time. So the first thing that he's on land now. I wonder what happened to that ship. I wonder. So he goes down to Joppa, to the seaport, and he finds that ship. It's got to be at a seaport right there, because they just barely left the shores. And he probably, now we're speculating. I want to make this clear, but I'll tell you how we're going to get around it if I'm wrong in my speculation. The fact is that he starts looking for that ship, and he finds it. us all kinds of reasons to believe that that's the way it would have happened. And he talks to those seamen. What happened? You threw me out. They're looking at him like they're looking at a ghost. They can't believe what they're seeing. The Bible doesn't report that, but we can imagine that's the way it would have gone. And they said, you know, the moment we threw you overboard, it was calm, just like that. Jonah said, oh, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? I was the guilty one. You threw me out, and I said that the seas would calm, and they did calm, didn't they? And then he talks to them some more, and he finds that they have come to become children of God. We see that evidence already from the Bible. So, now Jonah has a big message. He has seen in the past, from the biblical language, he's seen how going out of Egypt was a type of salvation. He's seen the sacrifice of Isaac, Abraham's son, was a picture of Christ giving his life. He has seen, he knows all about the going across the Jordan River was a type of salvation. And because he's a prophet and his focus would only be on those first 5 books of the Bible, every event was just glued in his mind. He knew these things, and so he thought, he now can see, you know, the Lord has made me a picture of salvation. He has made me a picture. I don't know why. I'm not worthy. But all I know, he has made me a picture of salvation. Now, suppose that our speculation is not accurate. Suppose that the land that they were close to was some other place and it was another port, and so he never did meet them again. We know that he wrote the book of Jonah as God dictated it to him. And we know, therefore, that Jonah knew every detail that we find here in the Bible. God had told him. God had told him because it is the book of Jonah. And God dictated to Jonah just as he would have dictated, as he did dictate to Jeremiah, the whole big book of Jeremiah. That's the way the Bible comes to us. So whether our speculation is accurate or not is really immaterial, but it certainly does follow very, very easily and fit together. All right, now Jonah. Now God comes to Jonah. Now God comes to Jonah. He says, I want you to go to Nineveh and tell them that in 40 days I'm going to destroy them. He's already told them the first time you have to preach against them about their wickedness. Now Jonah has a big message because he's going to go there, and maybe he brought some proofs. I don't know how he did that, but we do know that when he started preaching to them, that we read in Jonah chapter 3 verse 5. We read in verse 3 of Jonah chapter 3. So Jonah arose and went into Nineveh, according to the word of Jehovah. Now Nineveh was an exceeding great city of 3 days' journey, and Jonah began to enter into the city a day's journey, and he cried and said, Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. So the people of Nineveh believed God and proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth. Notice, it doesn't say they believed Jonah. They did not believe Jonah. They believed God. Now, this is their first acquaintanceship with the God of Israel. They were a heathen city. They are typical of the whole world today. This is actually a dramatic picture of what God is doing in the whole world. And when they believed God, it was not belief that came from their side. It was the belief that came because God opened their hearts so that they believed. And the actions that follow will show that they really did believe. God immediately saved them. Because God has to finish developing this whole story. It's a picture of the end of the world, or it's a picture of the whole period of sending out the gospel, because the same rules apply, as we'll see.